Warning, this video contains minor spoilers.
Hi.
This VN can be summed up with a sentence. If I'm gonna suffer, might as well suffer in HD.
Welcome to my water closet, the forbidden chamber. Got fetishes you've never heard. The waifus are too dangerous. Gonna step inside and get a new fetish. Maybe drink some piss, maybe eat some shit. Wanna have a good time by the toilet side. Find the water closet and step inside. Let's go. This is a high-tech toilet and it must be respected. So if you disrespect it, you will get fucking sex, bitch. The toilet is it's sacred, so hurry, get your business done. And if you fail to do that, then you might just become one. Oh yeah, piss!
あらあら。
This stories involve toilets. And not just any toilets, you know? They're sacred toilets. Now, the version I played here is the remastered version, which is already available in JAST USA. And I waited a while since the pre-order because, as I've mentioned, if you're gonna suffer, then just fucking suffer in HD at least. Now, if you do decide to play this unique Eroge, then you will experience some degenerate shit, if I do say so myself, in the eyes of 5 women. And they are... the curious high school student, the arrogant and narcissistic model, the promiscuous MILF, the innocent and timid introvert, and the clumsy airhead nurse. Nagare Setsuko is a high school student at the age of... no comment. That's the sign of her not being legal, guys. FBI, open up! And it shows, cause you know what? Her scenes are not as extreme as the rest. Anyway, Setsuko is a pure girl because she doesn't know anything about sex and those dirty kind of stuff. However, she is curious, so she'll try something out at least. I find Setsuko to be one of the dreamy girls, like the ones that fantasize about their romance life or something, because there is legit an imagination scene in her route. She's also a pretty motivated character. When she puts her mind to something, then she'll work hard towards that goal, which is admirable. A person who's not admirable is the next one. Toi Reka, a model with the hottest body in the game, not gonna lie. That being said, a bit ugly on the inside despite being beautiful on the outside. She's an arrogant, narcissistic bitch, actually believing that she's the best among all of her peers, being proud of her body and all that. However, her being blessed with a hot body was also accompanied with a curse. That is chronic constipation. Yes, she has a stomach problem. And her occurrences happen at the most inconvenient of times. Now you get why it's called Water Closet. Another character that has shit moments, literally speaking, is the MILF. Habakari Shoko. Legit a MILF. She's married and has a daughter. Nothing much to say about her, to be honest. She's less stranger than the rest. Though I would add that she can get in heat fairly easily, and that led her to do some unfaithful acts as a result of mind-breaking efforts, if you know what I mean. Regardless, she's hot. And she's into exhibitionism, which may be a plus depending on who's watching. That is the degenerate you are. Next is the innocent and timid girl, Mitara Ikumi, who also engaged in exhibitionism. Now you might be wondering, innocent and timid but into exhibitionism? Complete opposites, right? Well, yes, of course. But the thing is, it wasn't voluntary. So naturally, we have bondage, violence, and the R word that rhymes with tape in this Nukige. One other special thing about Ikumi is that she has a bladder problem. And when she gets nervous facing social pressure, she releases. And that's where Kawaii Julin comes in to help Ikumi with her urinal dysfunction. A half Japanese, half Canadian nurse. And a klutz too, so she'll fuck up things more often than not. Julin's also a direct person, doesn't shy away from the naughty stuff, but that's expected from a nurse, especially for one who works in an urology clinic. And she participates, if not initiates, Yuri activities. Hey man, that's the win for me. A partner in her moments is the patient she cares for, that is Ikumi, and one other person who is a side character. Which leads us to... the very interestingly written character, the creepy photographer, the man who cucks, and the...
あらあら。
Doctor. You can already tell which character Julian f***s or gets f***ed by, since I've only mentioned one woman in this section. Now, normally I would say my best girl at this point, but it's kind of hard to get turned on by any of the characters here. F*** it. Best girl Doctor. Main menu page with a very lively music. Load section of 3 pages with 10 slots each. And the option button leads you to... Wait, where are the settings? Wait. Are you telling me the options are the girls themselves? Fair enough. Each character has a whole section dedicated to them. CG showing the obvious. Event to pick the H scenes. BGM for the OSTs. Sorting the music specifically to each character is a nice touch, not gonna lie. I wish that was implemented more often given the right circumstances. Anyway, remember that there isn't any settings page in the main menu? Well, you can get them during the reading session, which is an ADV style. Just hover your mouse to the top and a bunch of buttons will pop up. Here are the settings. Oh, and you will occasionally encounter this page at some points. And don't worry, the game didn't crash or anything. The devs just wanted to mess with you, so just click ignore. As for the English text, I didn't encounter any errors to my memory. One good stuff at least. Another good stuff is coming next. Thank f***ing God this new gig is short, relatively speaking. And it's 3 hours and 23 minutes long in my experience, with the average of 4 hours in VNDB so far. Water Closet is a compilation of routes. Now that I think about it, all VNs are like that in general. But this one is like that since the beginning. After the start button, you choose a route immediately and these routes are not related to each other. There are some events that overlap, but they're short and not really major. And there will be multiple endings in each route, determined by the choices you make, like this. Some endings, however, cannot be unlocked unless you complete a certain character's true end. And unfortunately, I don't remember which one you need to complete first, so yeah, good luck if you're a completionist. Heed my words. You will not play this for the story, even if you are one to look forward to it. The stories are ass, just giving shit. Nothing major on the character development here either. Yes, you heard me, there is some kind of character development for each of the characters. And they are to be expected given what happened to them. The pacing is terrible and the events are ridiculous. A lot of the moments occur randomly and nonsensically, with most of them involving the professor. And I'll admit, the character interactions were carried by him. So yeah, this story is one of those examples of...
Don't try to understand it. Feel it.
Going by the order that I played through, let's start with Setsuko's. Very much the most stable route out of the 5. I actually like hers the most because of how normal it is, which is a stretch to say considering how ridiculous the other routes are. Setsuko's true end is also the most enjoyable to me as it gave the best character development. Another enjoyable ending was in Juline's true end, and her route is fun to read. I've had several good laughs reading Juline's story due to the characters and character interactions involved, and honestly, I enjoyed her fun moments the most out of all the 5. Plus, her route gave me screen time of Best Girl and Ikumi, in addition to some Yuri time. This next route also gave more screen time to the Yuri action and the Doctor, that is Ikumi's route. I have mixed feelings here depending on which ending you take. Like the true end was kind of surprising, but I'm not complaining. Still, I genuinely feel bad for Ikumi in her own route. She deserves a better outcome. Because there is one end that involves exhibitionism and bondage, and those were caused by a certain character that was very entertaining to me, but I just hated this one moment of that particular character. I would like to mention that the bondage doesn't end there because now we have Rika's route. And oh my god, her route can just f*** off, man. It's disgusting. I suffered the most here. Trash. the only good quality was her body. And that is so frustrating because I was looking forward to her good sex scenes. I really got hit by that don't judge a book by its cover moment. Though I guess in this case, don't judge her sexual preferences by her curves. Still, I did get surprised by her true end. Quite an interesting change of character actually. Lastly, Shoko's route, which also has exhibitionism. Now, you know my preference of saving the potential best route for last. And oh boy, was I so goddamn disappointed here. Random encounters all over and shit is involved. That being said, I would say that her route is one of the normal ones when compared to Reika's or Ikumi's. Putting aside the shitting, there are some adultery moments and seriously, they're not as bad as those hardcore parts. Regardless, if you do not want to suffer as I did, then you should follow my route recommendation. Or just don't play this Eroge. I would suggest starting with Reika's, then Shoko's, after that Ikumi's, and then Julien's, and finally Setsuko's. You can take my word for it considering my preferences to leave best girl for last and that I prioritize MILFs and One-chans. So, this route order says something. Now, Setsuko's ending may be the best to end this Nukige, but I personally believe that Ikumi is the best girl out of the 5, if I were to just limit myself to the main characters. Now, to ease your suffering a bit, here's the route guide and a timeline that was created by a subscriber of mine, who also has a YT channel of his own. Check it out if you're interested in the link down below. Of course, if you're an M and you just want to suffer in blind, then oh, be my guest, bro. It's just my opinion and that's more where that came from. Just too much f***ing stuff to hate here, which I believe are already hinted throughout this video, so let's just talk about the more prominent ones. Number 1. Scat. Number 2. Scat. I can handle the pissing to a certain extent in my experience, but this shitting fetish can just off. Next, the goddamn locked true ends of the routes. I don't understand why it had to be like that because the stories are mostly not related to each other. So there is no reason to lock the true ends behind a specific route order. The only thing it did was prolonging my torture. That was the reason they did it, right?
I'll never tell.
Lastly, why does the option button not lead to the settings page? Oh my god. Does it hurt to implement another button that says galleries or extras? And yeah, that's pretty much the bad stuff. But trust me though, there are a lot of bad stuff here, it's just that I'm lazy to mention them again. So, as for the good parts, the voice acting, as usual. Even in a crappy Nukige like this, the voice actors still gave a worthy performance. So, kudos to them. I just wish there was voice acting for this professor here. Such a great and entertaining character in this concept. I left most of his screen time and he's the one that carried this BN, to be honest. The humor and good character interactions, most are from him. I also appreciate the good enough of endings in certain routes. With all the shit stuff happening, it's relieving to have some good moments at least. But they're all still bad if you're taking this Nukige as a comparison to the general medium. It's like you're happy to touch mud after getting used to touching shit or something. Speaking of shit, just so goddamn many H scenes, and to give credit where it's due, they do serve their purpose well. Technically speaking, they fulfill their roles for the sake of the theme, the voice acting, the sound effects, and the illustrations. And oh my fucking god, the illustrations! The feces, man, they're drawn disgustingly well. By the way, some H scenes are shorter than others, and yeah, you can bet that the worst kind of genre they're in, the longer they will be. Tags include scat, piss, outward that rhymes with tape, NTR, gangbang, public, exhibitionism, Yuri, Australian kiss, backdoor, and just go play the damn game to find out. By the way, I've recently launched my Patreon, so if you want to listen to me talk more about these H scenes uncensored, then consider joining me there. Shameless advert done. Now let's end it. Finally! To conclude, Water Closet is one heck of a roller coaster ride. But instead of enjoying it, I f***ing puked. There are some good moments in there, but you'll have to endure some tough hardship to get to the end. Who knows? If you like the challenge, then by all means go for it, my man. It does feel rewarding with some good endings at the very least. With that said, the Degen score is shit. So yeah, I hope you guys can like and subscribe if the content is degenerate enough. Check out my Patreon/Discord in the links down below. Later, Degens.